Is there such a thing as a no-sew binding with hidden spine for art and junk journals? Yes, there is. So stay tuned if you'd like to see how it can be done. Hello everyone, it's Dragana from Sasibo. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. Today I'd like to show you a slightly different way of binding your junk journals. We normally bind junk journals something like this. The spine is exposed or it can be hidden. Papers are usually organized in several signatures, and signatures can become really thick. We like to add things to them, little tags, cards, fabric, decoration. So the spine has to be wide enough to accommodate all of that extra work we're going to put inside. So the regular binding methods are usually not suitable for junk journals. Something like this. And as you can see, the signatures are very tightly bound. So this book is probably designed for sketching, for writing, and not for gluing things and adding more texture or thickness to the pages, because it would end up something like this. You wouldn't be able to close it. Okay, so I have an example here. Once you add things to it, you can't close it. And I've just added some paper inside just to show you the difference. Okay, as soon as you add things, this is what happens. That's what happens. So let's just remove these quickly. Okay, put them aside. So now it looks all right. But as soon as we add things to it, it becomes really thick. Although I did not press it hard when I was making it, I better not put too much inside. And this method is a hidden spine method, but without sewing. And I absolutely love it because it allows me to use my own papers that I hand dyed, and I can have them like this. So every paper is a signature. Okay, so you use full papers and you fold them, and there's no sewing, but it's a lot of folding involved. I love journals like this to be my art journals. One of the reasons is because I can open them and they stay flat. Okay, so it's very easy to work with. But today I want to do it slightly different than what I have here, because I would like to make it a bit wider here using the same number of pages, but have it wider in case I want to glue things down and add texture to my junk journal. So although this is all right for an art journal maybe, but for junk journal probably it would become really thick very quickly. It would end up something like this. So I want to do a hidden spine, no sewing binding, but the one that's actually good for junk journals. Okay, so first things first, you need your papers. I want to use my papers that I dyed myself. Okay, so whatever the size you're using, I'm using A4, but I cut it a little bit smaller because the edges were a little bit messy from the dyeing process. And you also need two papers that are the same size, and they're going to be your papers that go here. Okay, so you need them, and they need to be exactly the same as the ones that are going to be inside. I just want to mention that this type of binding is not really good if you have pages that are not the same size. So it's best if they're all the same size, I think. Then you'll get the best result. I haven't tried with different sizes anyway, but I don't see how it would work. Okay, what you need to do is fold these pages in half. When I was folding them here, I would just fold them normally, I fold and I use the bone folder to have them really sharp, but I'm not going to do that today. So I'm going to do it like this because I want to have something like that, not really sharp, but I want to have at least like a 1 millimeter thickness to the spine here. I will do this and just like that. just really, really soft. And then I'm going to take, this is just scrap paper, okay, from packaging. I'm going to take 2 of these because I want to have that amount in between, and I'm going to put it inside, hold it tight, and then I'm going to do this. Okay. So once I remove that, that's what I'm gonna get. So it's not going to be completely flat or sharp, it's going to have some thickness. Now I want to show you another example of this, but in a really exaggerated way. Now this is taking it to extreme. I hope you can see this. There's a big distance between those pages. Okay, at least 5 millimeters. I won't go that much. 1 millimeter is all it takes because I think I've overdone it here. I didn't need to do it so big, but I've done it so it's too late now. But that's what I'm trying to say. We need space in between so that when we glue things in and we put pockets and all that stuff that we like to do, we need to have room here the same as here. And as you can see, I could have gone a lot smaller. And also, whatever paper you're using, always use the same and have as many as you have the pages. They have to be at least the same size or a little bit bigger, and just use scrap paper. Like I have a ton of these. They came from fabric swatches. You can use book pages, you can use any sort of recycled material, as long as every time you put the same amount or same thickness here. So if you're using book pages, look for book pages that are bigger than your paper, and always use the same number of book pages on the inside, and just do that. So we are doing that with the rest of these. Okay, so let's just do that again. So you fold, you make sure your corners meet here and here, and you just press gently. I'm taking 2 of these because I want that thickness, and once I have that pushed all the way here, then I'm holding it with my fingers here so it doesn't slide out. When you're folding your pages, and if you have a design, for example like this one, you have to decide what you want to be on the inside and what you want to be on the outside. This is why. For example here, if I wanted this to be like a central spread on which I can art journal, I want to fold it in, not out, because this is one paper, and then we have half of one paper and then half of the other paper. Okay, so this is one paper. So if you have a design or a page that you want to see all of it at once, then that design has to be on the inside of your page. I used 24 sheets of paper in this one, and here I have 21. So once we fold them all together, you'll see how big a difference it makes if you do it like this. Okay, I'll just fold all of these and then I will be back. I've folded all of these, and these ones, I suppose I can fold them, but we're not going to use them yet. But since I'm folding, I might as well. And I just want to say, because I forgot to mention at the start, for my pages I used paper that it's a little bit thicker than copy paper, but you can use certainly just copy paper. I had these that were on a sketch pad. It's 110 GSM, but 90, 80, whatever you have is fine. But for these papers that go on the inside, I prefer to use a slightly thicker paper like cardstock, and this is 200 GSM, and I just printed this image. You can also do this just with white paper, that's totally fine. And with these I want a sharp crease. We'll put these aside for now. Okay, let's have a look here. So I folded all of these, and I left those extra papers on the inside. So I'm just doing this so everything's aligned. Okay, so have a look now how much thicker that is than this here. Okay, so here we have almost an inch and here we have half an inch. So that's what I was trying to achieve by sliding these papers inside, and they're not going to stay inside. The glue won't get to them because we are going to glue this side here and they are on the inside of these papers, so they're there just to provide stability and thickness while we're binding this. Okay, so on top of that you need to align them on one side here and down the bottom. It doesn't matter if they're sticking out on this side, as long as that one is okay. And here, okay, so something like that. They have to be aligned here, and I can see here a few are still not, so I'm going to manually push them down. Now, I also cut myself some spare chipboard, also from some remnants, and you can either put some Glad wrap over it, but I like to just use packaging tape. This is plastic. If you just use chipboard like this to hold your signature together, the glue will be stuck to it, and then you'll have a problem. So I guess I just like to do this and just on one side. Okay, and you put that side here. This is just to hold it nice and firm while you're working. And I'm going to put that over here. So let's do that again. Also, these boards should be at least the size of your pages or bigger, but definitely not smaller. Okay, so let's do this again. So you just align everything on this side and spend your time when you do this. You know, you don't want to rush it. I'll just take this box. Use whatever tools you have at your disposal. So I'm just making sure it's really flush. Get your clips. You can use these if they're big enough to hold this. I'm just going to use these big ones. And as you can see, that's flat and that's flat. Now there's only the issue of these sticking out. I don't want any glue to get to here, so I'm going to just put some of that tape. Okay. I'll just leave it like that. Yeah. Okay. I need to be able to take it in my hand so that I can show you. It's not that easy. Okay, let's just test now. Yeah, it seems to be okay. What we need to do now is get the glue. So I'm just using white craft glue and a brush. Okay, let's add some glue. So just white PVA glue. Just gonna make sure you see this properly. properly. So I'm just going to take the glue and apply it to the spine. And when you come here, don't go all the way to the edge. You don't want it seep over. Just apply really well. You want the glue in these grooves. Spread really well. Good. Okay, here. By adding these extra pieces of cardstock in between our papers, we basically created thicker folds here so that the glue can attach better to the bigger surface. Instead of just like a hairline of thickness, it's going to have at least 1 millimeter. So it's going to make your spine a little bit sturdier. Okay, so that is okay like that. Now we need to wait till it dries, and I will leave it just like that on top of that. Let's have a look. I think this is dry enough, so I'm going to take these clips off, and I'm carefully going to remove this. This as well. Okay. It is glued. I won't separate it because I want these to stay inside still. Now, the next step would be to add some fabric over this. I have this piece of cotton that is wide enough to cover the spine and with a bit of extra, and I don't want it bigger than this. I want it actually slightly smaller. Okay, so let's just measure it. I need to trim, just trim the fluff. What we do now, again, we take our brush and the glue, hold that spine, and you apply glue again. My glue is actually a little bit dry there, but that's all right. It will work. So you apply glue only to the spine. Try not to get it over here, or if you do, just wipe it off. So only this. If you see areas like this where it's like there's no glue, just add more. Okay. Alright, I'll just put that there. Make sure it's really glued to the spine. And I like to add a little bit of glue over the fabric as well. Then I have to add glue to the side. Only here. Now this needs to dry really well now, so I will probably leave it for about an hour just to make sure it's all nice and settled. Fabric takes a bit longer to dry. And leave it just flat like that. You don't need to put anything on top because it might then kind of squish. Just let it be as it is. Okay, and in the meantime you can look through your fabrics and decide what you want on the cover. I decided to use this fabric. I only have this piece and I love it, and I've been hoarding it for like ever. I'm going to use it on this, and for the spine I'm going to use this fabric, which is microfiber. It's like faux suede. It's a really nice green color. I think it would go really well with this. And also you can look for the chipboard that you want to use for your covers. This is a hardcover journal we're making, and I have this sketchbook, and they usually come with the chipboard at the back. So I cut off a piece here, and I'm going to use that for the covers and the spine. So if you don't have chipboard, you can use cardstock, serial packaging. You can use that as well. Just make sure you glue 2 or 3 layers together so you get a nice firm piece of cardstock similar to chipboard. All right. Okay, that has dried completely and it's safe to continue the rest. The drying time will depend on your glue and the temperature in the house, so it might take an hour, might take longer. So just wait until it's really dry. Now let's make some covers. Okay, I've shown you the chipboard that I want to use. So now I have to cut it. I have to cut 2 pieces, and I'm going to cut them 2 millimeters larger than my papers. So don't mind these. You see, that's the paper. So I've already cut this, and now I have to cut across here. So my papers are 14.5 centimeters, but I will add 2mm only to this side. So it's going to be 14, instead of 14.5, it's going to be 14.7. Okay, 14.7, and I need 2 of those, so I'll just cut those now. So let's see, it's got 2mm here, 2mm there, and here it's right there, and 2mm over. Okay, and I need to cut 2 of those. I'm just using the first one as a guide. Okay, so that's the front and the back cover. Now our spine is, let's measure that, it's 2 centimeters. Okay, I need to cut 2 centimeters spine. Okay. Cut 2 centimeters spine. Now I need to cut the fabric. So something like this. I don't need to wrap it over this edge. I'll just cut it straight here because I will use the other fabric to go over. Just cut. Straight there. And then I will leave myself some room there, and then I can trim this here. Okay, so that will be my front. I like that. What can we have on the back? We can have that rose there. Okay, I'll do that, and then I'll just cut across here. And I can cut this. So this is going to be like that on the back. Like that. So I have to make sure that I do this properly. So I'll just put a mark here and here, so I know I don't need to go over that. And it is an arrow pointing up, just so that I get the fabric right. I'm going to use this glue, Tacky Craft glue. I think it dries much faster than this one, and it's a bit thicker. So I'm going to use that one with my brush. I have this here that I have to remove. Sometimes if it's difficult to remove any of the stickers from your fabrics, in this case this was a sample swatch, so that's why it has that sticker there. You can use the hot steam iron over it, and then it will peel really easily. I should have done that before, but I don't want my glue to dry, so I'm going to apply the glue to this one first. You need to spread the glue really well. Don't want it to seep through the fabric. You can also use acetone-based glue. I use it most of the time, but honestly I'm not in the mood to inhale that smell today. So I'm using this one. It's just that acetone glue dries much faster than this one, almost within minutes. Okay, so I'm placing this one right there. Okay, I've gone a bit more on this side than on this, but really that doesn't matter. And if you're not sure how much to cut here from the corners, you can do this. Just use these clips. And then you just cut. Okay. Put the glue here as well. The clips. Right, so we do this, and also we need a bit more here in the corners. So I like to just do this first. You see this? Just push that down, hold, and then fold. Okay, I'll show you again. So you push it over, and then you fold this as well, and you fold. Okay, this is much easier with thinner fabrics that don't fray. This one is actually kind of difficult to work with, but it can be done. You push that in. It's looking good on this side. Now I like to leave these clips until this is dry. That's the front. And then here we have to remove this label. Have the steam on. Just go with the steam. It should come right on. So sticky. The labels are so sticky. That's up, so I'm supposed to glue it like this. Press it. That's our front. Now we have to cut the piece that goes over the spine. Just want to take the measurements first. So I wanted to go over this maybe about 1.5. So that means 1.5 and 1.5 is 3, and this is 2, that's 5, and we need about, I don't know, about 1/2 centimeter in between, something like that. So that's 5, that's 6. So I'll cut 7. And we need, of course, a little bit to fold over. So about there. Just cut that. Just remove this. I just want to just quickly test if this is all right before I glue it down. I just want to make sure that is all as it should be. I can certainly glue this part down. I'll glue this down. Find the middle here. Then try to align this. The middle here. Now this distance here, I just want to, before I glue it down, just want to make sure that it's all right with my book. And I suppose I can take these papers out now. I can use these again in another project. Okay, you see how that looks now? It's thinner here, but it's wider here, and it's perfect for junk journals. It's exactly what I wanted. But now that I've removed them, I can see that one of my papers has moved. I probably, was trying to align them. This one escaped me. So before I glue it down to this, I need to fix that. It's just a little bit. Just so it's not sticking there. That's it. I will put these here. That there. This should tell me exactly how much space to leave. Okay, so that it works all right. Make sure your spine is right where it should be. Maybe able to just clip it just so I know. So I need to leave that much, which is Yeah, it's 5 millimeters, just as I thought it would be. But if you're not sure and you want everything to sit right, you can always do this check. So now I'm just gonna mark 5 millimeters from either side. Just get a clean piece of plastic. Here. Okay, I'm going to flip it on this side. Down, I'll just put something heavy. Okay, let's see if this is dry. It seems like glued properly. If you want to add any of the metal parts like this, you're better off doing it now. Maybe gold would look good. Yeah, I think I'll go for the gold. That means I'm gonna add these corner protectors in gold as well, and I need 2 gold split pins. I've done this a few times in my videos, but I'm gonna do it again in case you haven't seen those videos. So I usually decide where I want this, take my pokey tool and put a hole. Press it down. And open up those pins. Push them into that cardstock. Don't want them bulging out. All right. And then you do the other side. Good. So that's done. That part is done. I'll just put a little bit of masking tape here now. Let's take our text block. Those don't have really direction apart from this one, so I know this is up. I wouldn't want it like this in my book. So now we need to glue this part to that. I'm going to place a piece of acetate here, because even this, we used this one earlier. Do not put the glue on this, on the spine, just on the fabric. That, to place this. Now you put your text block, make sure it's in the middle. leave that there for now. I'm going to do this side. Clean. Okay. Push it into that groove. There. This paper is supposed to go here and here, only a little bit there. Okay, so let's just clip it. It's supposed to go there, something like that. So you add glue to here. You can actually do it here if it's easier for you, but then you'll have to do the edges over here because you don't know exactly how far they're gonna go here. This is a bit hard to show on the camera. Like this. Still clip that, and then I'll clip it because I don't want to leave the clip marks on the paper like that. Okay, that needs to dry. Now here we only want to put glue over there, just a little bit to join this to that, like that. So hold those two together. And we close it. All Right, so we do exactly the same on this side. Okay, glue it to this side first, and then you glue it over here. Now we just have to wait until this is dry. This should be okay now, so I'm going to remove the clip. I decided I want to add some of this green lace. I think it would really finish off that edge nicely. I'm just going to use hot glue. Oh, I love how it looks. You can use your lighter on open flame to secure the edges of laces that are not cotton. If they're cotton, they will start to burn, while the synthetic ones will just melt. I love how that looks. And I'm going to do the same on this side. Now one last thing left to do is to install these. I think that would really make it complete. I normally just open these up a little bit if I'm dealing with a thick cover like this one. And it's your choice if you'd like to add some glue. Perhaps I will just... I usually don't, but this fabric is kind of fraying, so I'm thinking a little bit of glue would be good. Just pushing in and then use the hammer. Nice. And I'll do the same with the rest of them. Okay, let's have a look. That's our first page. Okay, and then here we go. That looks good, and it's easy to work, isn't it? Okay, that's in between those two. Then we have that one. And you see we have plenty of room there. I hope you can see this, to add things without compromising the cover. I love it. And we didn't have to do the sewing at all. It's all just glued. I love it. One thing I didn't do, and I perhaps should have, is just arrange the papers a bit differently. Now I have just blue, then I have just yellow. I could have mixed them up a little bit more, but I just wasn't thinking. I just took them as they were in that pile without thinking too much. Oh, I love this. I love this so much. Hope you can see. It's a true hidden spine. Look. Done a proper hidden spine. It's arching. It's perfect. And it's got enough room to add things to it. You can always do this just if they're a little bit uneven like this from the blue. That's fine. I don't mind that. Just work it a little bit. Open up every page and just squash. But that means it glued to that fabric properly. Okay, and it's flexible. It really is. And really, if you make a mistake and you really don't like, for example, one page, you can easily just tear it out. We like mistakes, don't we? They are embellishing opportunities. We just cover it with something else and it's all fine. Oh, I'm really happy how this turned out. Let's just compare them. Here we have 20 pages. I thought there were 21, but there's 20 pages folded together, and here we have 24. And yet this spine is much thicker here, which means I have room to grow. Okay, I can add pockets, I can add things, and it's not going to hopefully be too bad. Like in this one, I probably shouldn't add too much in terms of thickness and bulk, but I can paint in it and draw in it. That would be fine. I love both of them actually. I hope you find this information useful, and I hope you give it a go. I love it. Yeah, it's a little bit different than what we normally do, but why not? Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I see you soon in my next video. Bye for now.